Hi everyone, it's Don again from cruxterminatus.org. This tutorial stroke project blog is about Tyberos, the red wake from Forgeworld. The model quality was frankly shocking. You don't expect to pay that amount of money for a model to have it really badly miscast. I did sort out the blades quite easily with some boiling water, but the gaps in the leg armour were just unlike anything I've ever seen before. Really, really bad. So this is what you're getting. It's 3 little sprue parts, one with the head and the right claw, one with the left claw, and one with the main body. The stand is obviously, the 40mm base is obviously bang up to date because it was dated 1999. I'm sure some of you probably weren't even born then. Anyway, enough about depressing old me. The model itself is obviously super shiny with the release agent, so I had to do something about that, and that was the Asda Smart Price toothbrush, 17p, a bargain. So I used one of them and some soap, and what I did was I sort of posed them with blue tack just to get the right sort of idea of how I wanted them to look. There's only very limited options that you can have them so his arms fit together, but I'm just showing you there, if it goes into focus, the gaps between the chinks in the leg armour. I don't know if you can see that one just above his knee. It's a good couple of mil out, and it's a 28mm model, so that's really shocking. There's a huge miscast in his left leg there, which I had to scalpel out and then fill in with green stuff and milliput. All in all, really, really bad quality model. So it was a case of cutting them off the sprue, or the whatever you call that piece, and then just gluing them onto some paper clips. As I say, these things are all explained in hundreds of people's videos, like by painted, far better than I could ever do. Mounted on corks, and then for the claws I decided I wanted to do something a bit different. The photographs on the Forgeworld site are just silver, but most people I've seen that have done Tyberos have done his power shark claw things, Hunger and Slake. They've done them blue, and I thought, do you know what, they're meant to be unique in the universe. They're meant to be of alien design and technology, so I'm going to make mine a wee bit different. So I went with a red spectrum instead of a blue spectrum. So I started off with mahogany, and then went on to scarlet red. I also bought an Evolution Harder and Steinbeck airbrush, thinking it would make me as good as by painted. I'm only joking, by the way. I knew it wasn't going to happen, and I had nothing but problems with it, but that's for another thing. So I moved from scarlet red into orange, and then onto yellow, and it might not come out very clearly on this, but it really does look, in the flesh, it really does look good. And just to give it a final highlight, I went and got some sort of whitey yellow. You can see it coming, the colour will come in here in a second. So I did that, and I finished it off with it almost like a really super fine mist of white. I wasn't particularly happy with the knuckles, if you like, so I went back and touched them up with a little bit of scarlet red. But to find out that your £120 airbrush actually isn't any better than your 1999 Hong Kong special was a bit disappointing, especially when you were filming it all, and trust me, most of this film ended up on the cutting room floor. So we're getting to the end of painting the as I say, they're called Hunger and Slake. They're 2 special weapons. It's a power fist with a chain fist built in. This is me doing the highlight. There's a wee problem here with a paint splodge which I have to go off camera and fix, but we get there in the end, and I think the end result is well worth it. So going on to the armour now, I decided to do a custom colour, sombre grey from Game Colour, and the really dark purple as well. I think it's is it hex purple? I think it might be. Decided just to make something that was really unique, so mixed up my own colour, and once I was happy with it and I played about with it for a while, I managed to mix up a bigger batch and get it into the airbrush, which was still misbehaving at this time. I guess I'm going to have to be, I mean that's 2 big drops of thinners going into it and it was still too thick to get blown through the airbrush properly, so this little dish came from an Easter egg or something like that. So you know what's going on here, I'm just blasting on the base coat. I actually really quite liked the colour when it was on. It seemed to contrast really nicely, or sorry, complement really nicely the grey. So I should mention that the grey primer was Halford's car primer as recommended by the Imperial Armour book modelling masterclass. I've tried the Vallejo polyurethane primer on resin models before and it just flakes off, it's rubbish. It's brilliant on plastic but not resin, so the Halford's tin was £7.50 for a 500ml tin. Seems to do the job really nicely, didn't have a single issue with paint fleck, so I think I'll be using that from this point on, especially on my Cestus Assault Ram, which is probably going to be coming up Christmas time. So really just doing that and then being ever so careful to paint around the claws and not to undo all my good work. I decided to leave this sort of object source light thing part of the blade so it transitions into the purple. I could have mashed it off and made it a harsh line, but I actually quite like the effect. So it's time for the highlight, so I mixed another batch of the same colour, as you can see with my hand there. I'm not the neatest airbrusher, but I'm using my hand as a sort of temporary mask a lot of the time. So the same original colour, just with some added white. Again, there are 1,000,001 tutorials that show you how to do this much better than me. I'm just showing you how I did it. At light purple wash in all the recesses, in fact everywhere. I'm nice and neat in this part, but then I decide to go nuts and cover the whole thing. It does give it a very, very interesting texture. Sorry for the focus problems there. It was very dark, very, very late at night. So this is moving on to another mix which has some hawk turquoise in it, just a couple of dabs there, and again it's just to try and get that sort of highlighty colour, just that little bit different. I say I'm not claiming I'm inventing new colour schemes, far from it. It's purely and simply I just wanted something that was different, and if you look on Google Images for pictures of Tyberos the Red Wake, they're all either copies of the Forgeworld sales picture, which you would expect because he's a named character, but a few people have done something slightly different, but I just went all out to be completely mental. And I've learned how to do this almost invisible painting through Roddy from Crux Terminatus as well, and what you can't see on this is I'm blowing on it like crazy to dry it, to give a sort of fairly nice light diffuse pattern for when the light hits that armour. Again, there are 1,000,001 painting tutorials online that will show you how to do that far better than me, but say if you can ever learn from my mistakes, I've done my job properly. So just highlighting all the bits where the sunshine would hit, or moonshine, or whatever. I should explain I'm recording this audio all in a winner. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning and I really need to go to bed, so I'm probably talking a lot of rubbish. And if my boss ever happens to watch this, what I mean is it's 8:30 and I'm full of beans and I have done that report that you really wanted. Okay, so just doing some much more severe edge highlights, and this is where I make a complete hash of it live on camera. I do the second ring and the paintbrush just slips, and in the end I have to just do the whole piece. It's coming up right now, it just goes about now, boom, right there. So in the end I have to make that whole part much lighter than I had originally intended, but it works well in the end. It's a happy accident. Someone's laughed in the commentary before that I call this piece the ass box. I don't know what else you call it. But basically just trying to work up a highlight without it being too crazy. This bit was fun. I had to mask off the claws and paint them, and I'm always going to be honest with you, I painted the studded left shoulder pauldron white and then painted them red, the studs red, and in the end it looked like a clown costume, so I went back and painted it purple. But in the meantime I decided I wanted a really kind of almost like a anime, I don't know, I sort of had a sort of rising sun type idea in my head when I was going through this, so I got my thinnest masking tape, painted it white, and then decided I was going to try and do a sort of unique design, I guess you would call it, sort of like the sort of Second World War rising sun design from Japan. I'll let you be the judge. I quite like it, but of course I'm going to say that, I'm gonna. So sprayed it scarlet red, again still having problems, that's paint bubbling out the top of my brand new airbrush. I since discovered it's because the piece wasn't screwed in properly, but at this point in time I just needed to get it done, so here we go. I use blue tack to fill in the gaps between the masking tape. It really works really well. And the moment of truth. I was frightened that it was going to peel away the white paint as well, but as luck would have it, the Halford's primer really is quite good. I need to get better tweezers, they're rubbish. I'm going to certainly try masking a lot more. I really think that the ways of doing things are, I think the effects are fantastic and far crisper than you could ever get with a paintbrush. So that's my sort of, I don't know, red week. Do not mess with me. Not that you would anyway, he's nails, but I just thought he deserves a unique badge, and there you go, he gets one. So time to see if the damage was limited to that. So I used, as I say, I used a mixture of blue tack and masking tape, which maybe was a bit overkill, but it made sure that no paint whatsoever got into there. So peel it off and then use the blue tack itself to remove the other bits and bobs. So I used Vallejo metallics, the red gold. It's the first time I've used it, and I just thought, well, if he's the red wake, he deserves red gold. It kind of looks coppery, brassy, I don't know how you describe it, but these paints are a pain in the bum to use, but the effect is fantastic. They're far superior to the Games Workshop ones. So it's just really going around all the detail. The one thing I did notice that Tyberos doesn't have a single Oath of Moment or Purity seal on his armour at all. The naughty monkey. Not that I would say that to his face, he'd probably slash your windpipe out. But anywho. So just using black ink to fill in the details of the gold chains above the skulls. And the skulls themselves. When I say ink, that's an old-fashioned way of saying a wash, by the way, sorry. Just starting to paint some of the details now. Again, I went with a red flash because, well, he is the Red Wake after all. This red is the Scarlet Modelier colour from Vallejo. It looks really nice, but it dries really dark. So I decided that's it dry there. So I decided I would go on with some orange and try and sort of zest it up a little bit. And that's the fluorescent red from model colour, from Vallejo model colour. I didn't think it was going to be quite as orange, but once it dried down it was fine. It just had a wee sort of panic. And again, far too much paint on that paintbrush, but I just decided to paint the lightning bolts yellow. It contrasts as well against the purple. And all the real painters out there would probably be having a heart attack with the amount of paint I've got on that brush, and rightly so. Hence I don't make tutorials about how to paint things. Okay, we're getting close to the end now. You'll be probably very glad to hear. Just basically making sure all the pieces look okay when they're put together. Quite like his helmet, because it's quite unique. That's the chain sword, sorry, chain fisty bits done as well. Maws, I think they're called. Just the final check to make sure everything's painted and everything from all angles is good. I'm always nervous at this point, because once you start using super glue, there's no going back. That's the professional series super glue I reviewed in the Found a Good Supplier video. It is the business. Solid within 20 seconds. Absolutely fantastic. It's very thick as well, so things tend to stay immediately where they're stuck, which is good. The helmet doesn't really fit very well into here. It took a bit of persuading to stay in here, but it's all good in the end. So now it's just making a little base. I was going to do a starship base, like a corridor base, because he is a sort of boarding specialist, but I wanted him to fit in with the rest of my army, so he's just taking a holiday from boarding action, and he's fighting on the ground like all my other guys, so it's the same style of base as all my elite characters and HQ choices, so quite happy with that base actually, it's quite nice. And here we go for the fake pot noodle pot. I really need to get a professional turntable, but I'm not professional, as you obviously know, so I'm afraid you're just stuck with whatever I've got at the moment. And thanks for watching. Please like it if you like it, and comment and subscribe. That'd be great. Cheers, guys.